our podcast, Creative Full Time, where we interview people in the entertainment industry and find out how they're doing the damn thing here in Canada. And if you could do the honor of subscribing to Creative Full Time channel, it would truly mean so much to me. Now, today's guest is a woman of many, many hats. She's a producer, director, writer, and actor here in the GTA. No matter what she's doing, whether it's producing her own work or performing in projects, her energy is infectious. She empowers, inspires, and entertains through all of her endeavors. And I'm so excited to talk to her today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode where we talk to the wonderful Mandy Magnan. Yay! Just like insert applause every time. Thank you for coming on the podcast today, Mandy.
Thank you.
So when was the dream of acting born for you?
Oh, wow. I dreamt of being an actor my entire life. Honestly, as a small child, I grew up in a really small town up north in northern Ontario called South Porcupine, Ontario. And I always wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be like a triple threat.
Yes.
But my singing voice didn't really help me out with that. But I always dreamed of being an actor and telling story. Where I grew up, there's not a lot. Hopefully there's a lot more, but there wasn't a lot of arts. Growing up, it's a mining and forestry town, so if you don't have a trade, no one's really thinking about artistry.
Right.
So when I moved to Toronto, that's when I needed to seal the deal. This is what I was going to do for my life.
Wicked. So where is your town near? If you're going to do like a major city, what is it close to?
It's close. It's right outside of Timmins, Ontario.
Okay, yeah.
But so if you know North Bay and Sudbury, it's like a few hours north of that.
Damn, you're far.
I say like North Bay is halfway, so 4 hours to North Bay, and then that's halfway, and then another equal 4 hours, and you're in my hometown.
That is hella far.
It's up there.
Hella far. It's cold up there. Excellent. So when did you move to Toronto? Did you come like immediately after high school, or what was your plan?
Yeah, I wish I would have came right out of high school, but I didn't. I was already living on my own out of high school. Finishing high school, I moved out on my own. And after a couple years of high school, I was working at a telecenter doing U.S. cell phones, answering American calls for their cell phones. And I just remembered I wanted to be an actor. Like, I got to get this going. I was 20 years old, and I was just living that same life, working all week, going out on the weekends. And I applied to school in that summer, and Humber gave me an audition, and they were like, it was in a month, and they were like, you gotta come with 2 monologues. I was like, what is a monologue? And I had no idea. And at that time, the internet wasn't like the internet now. You could just go and Google. So I ordered a couple of books. They got in like 2 days before. I tried to find a monologue. I had zero skills. Like, I drove the 8 hours. My best friends drove me down. And I did the audition. It was the most embarrassing performance I think I've done to date. It was awful. And
what made it awful in your mind?
I mean, I wasn't.
Did you forget your lines?
I forgot my lines. It was so over dramatic. I didn't really know what I was doing. It was bad. And I remember from the end, like, I began really, I'm gonna do this monologue. And halfway through, my energy just sunk, and I think by the end I just finished like, thank you so much. And I went back home, and I was like, well, I have some work that I need to do. And then 2 weeks later, I got a letter from George Brown, and they accepted me into their introductory to performing arts as a career, and that was starting in less than a month. Okay. And I drove back down 8 hours, found an apartment. I didn't tell anyone I was doing this except for my partner at the time. We drove down, found an apartment, and went back up, and I sat my parents down. I was like, I'm moving to Toronto in a month. I just signed a lease. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be an actor. And they moved me. 2 weeks later, I moved back to Toronto.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. It's amazing you found an apartment so quick, too.
I know. Well, back then, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So you went to George Brown then, and did you stay there and continue with that, or
I did the year there, and it was amazing. I learned so much: body, mind, creative theater. I got to travel to so many theaters locally. We always had an outing. And then the next year, that was a 1-year program. The next year, I reapplied to Humber, faced my demon. I went, I slayed the audition. I worked so hard on the monologue. I did, all the exercises and the auditions. They get you to do like movement and body and sound. And then you do your audition, and they accepted me straight away.
Amazing.
So then I went to Humber.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that chills. A little full circle moment.
full
You're
circle.
like, redemption.
And it was amazing. And then when I got the official letter, I remember the excitement. I was running around. I couldn't believe it. And then I did 2 years. I finished at Humber.
That's amazing. So when you say immediately, did they tell you like right there at the audition? They were like, congratulations, you made it in.
In not so many, where they were just like, we can't officially say yet until you get the letter online on their website, but don't look elsewhere. Kind of thing.
Ooh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, I love that. It reminds me of Save the Last Dance when he's like, welcome to Juilliard.
Welcome back, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So if you were to do it all over again, getting launched into acting, would you go to school? Would you go to college for school, or would you just jump into classes, or?
Wow. What an interesting question. I think because while I was at Humber, I learned so much about myself as a person, and I grew a lot out of this kind of small mindset that I had, because now I was in with all these people, and every semester, it was kind of wild there, let me tell you. Every semester, when you get your marks or your grades, no matter how great your grades are, you have a meeting time set, and where you walk into this boardroom, and all of your teachers and all of the people are sitting there, and you sit, and they kind of go around the room and let you know pretty much like if they believe in you, they don't believe in you, if they want you to continue in the program and what you need to work on in order to make it to continue.
Terrifying.
And a lot of people got kicked out, and I almost got kicked out for my first and my last interview. After my first year, they talked to me a lot about, I had a little attitude, I guess you could say. I was a little rebel. I was taking it the work serious, but I was very resistant to learning something that I was young. I was 21 years old, small town, tough,
Right.
And that knocked me. Wow, I almost got kicked out, and during that time, going into second year, I changed so much as a person, and really then committed to expanding myself. So I don't know, I think I would go back to school now and learn more about behind the camera, sound, directing, producing, budgets. I would go back to school for that, and then maybe I would take acting classes, because now with Zoom and with technology, you could learn from people across the world that you don't have access to. So I think I would learn more technical sides versus acting.
Nice. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Once you got out of school, did you then look for an agent, or what was that process of getting into acting in the non-school world?
Yeah, I did right away. You get your headshots. Throughout our last term, we had agents come in and speak with us, and that was great. And a few of them, just from being in the crowd, kind of picked me out and set up private interviews and meetings afterwards. But yeah, I went on the hunt for my first agent, and it's always challenging, no matter where you are. Trying to find representation is, I don't think my strong skill is selling myself, or at least then as much. I still think it's kind of a weak skill that I have in embellishing and selling myself. So it's always like, please, will you study me? I'm really good, I swear. I'm really good.
I promise, I could do anything.
I can do anything. What do you want? What do you want? Like, I'm like spaghetti. Throw me at the wall. I'll do anything, So it's always nerve-wracking. But yeah, I went and I signed with my first agent after many many attempts.
Nice. And are you still with that agent, or have you bounced around a little bit? I've bounced around, so no shame.
Yeah. I bounced around. I've had 4 agents. I'm on my 4th agent now.
Okay.
I love my agent,
Nice.
Stephanie Porter from the Porter Group Agency.
Shout out.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. Her mom is actually, her parents are from South Porcupine.
Oh, no
So
way.
when we were interviewing, that came up. Of course, where are you from? People ask me, like, where are you from, you know?
Yeah.
You're weird. Where are you from?
You're not from around
We're
here.
not from around here. So, and then we found out that we have this common ground in South Porcupine. And after the meeting, I was like, oh, that went really well. And I want to build a team of women behind me. So it was great to connect with another woman. And then she emailed me the next day and she said that she loved everything. She went on my YouTube page, watched all my videos, checked out my IMD, was on my social. And I was like, yeah, I love it. Let's go. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm down for the ride. And I was like,
Me too,
amazing.
girl.
And I
love
haven't
that.
looked back. I love her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have a really great relationship. So
That's so good.
yeah.
When you were looking for agents, what was something that was like really important to you in an agent, or did you ask like specific questions?
I think what's always been important to me is that they kind of see me and believe in me regardless of outcome and expectation. So I think that's really important because we can only control what we control, and bookings, unfortunately, aren't one of them. So that was important, and also just knowing where they see me in the industry and then where how they're gonna work for me, and I want them to be working for me as I'm working for me at the same time.
Right. Nice. Alrighty. So on your IMDb, you have a lot of shorts, a lot of horror films. Do you like doing horror films, or did horror films find you?
I found horror films. I love doing horror and thriller.
Nice.
It's my favorite genre. I love it. I grew up on classic horrors. My mom made me, well, she loved horror. I don't want to say she forced me, but when you're 6, you know, you don't really have a choice. But we loved Halloween, horror. I would watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy still gives me a nightmare. I just watched a few Nightmare on Elm Streets last week, so he's fresh in my head.
It's fresh.
But I've always loved horror, and the first short film I got, The Black Lake Tragedy, outside of Humber when I graduated, was a horror. And I strayed from there a little bit for a while when I was trying to find, you know, who I am and what I'm doing, and maybe I couldn't really like place myself, but I've got back to horror and thriller, and I love it. It's what I write, it's what I work with. It's really, yeah, it's my favorite.
I love that. I love that. So, you just mentioned writing. You famously now write your own projects and do your own projects. I saw that you do. Do you do the 48-hour film festival every year?
This was my 3rd year doing it.
3rd year? Nice.
I love it.
It's
The
a good
48
challenge.
is such a great challenge. Oh my gosh.
If you don't know it, you have to create a film from like writing to done in 48 hours, like over a weekend. So you're not sleeping, you're not doing anything.
No.
You're not doing anything.
By the end of it, you just feel so mangled, but like successful.
Yeah.
No matter what
You feel
get
good
from
when
it.
it's done. Yeah, I did it once. It was garbage. It was a lot of fun. It's really
When I
great.
look back to my first one, to the last one I just did last weekend, I was like, wow, I really thought my first one was, wow, look what I did. And it was cool. It was great. But I do everything on the 48, from writing all the way to all the posts.
Nice.
So my first one, I didn't do any of that. I hadn't done all of that before. Usually you hire kind of a team.
Yeah.
And this year I feel like I'm really starting to find my director voice, and I'm getting pretty good with editing.
Nice.
So it was a challenge.
Yeah. Do you like directing?
I love directing.
Nice.
I love it. I think my next short that I'm going to do, I'm going to direct it.
Wicked.
And then go from there. Yeah, it's awesome. Because when you're writing it and when you read it, and especially if you're acting in it, you already kind of have a vision, especially for me as the writer,
Yeah.
of how it's going to go and how I want it shot. So to give that up is great. You know, there's but then to do it,
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
just so much more
It's
satisfying.
just so good too.
That's true. And then you don't have to worry about it not turning out the way you did. You hope it
If
would.
this sucks, it's because of me.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I know. It's rough, but it's good. It's good. Do you have a favorite out of like writing, producing, directing, acting? I feel like acting's gonna be a given,
Acting.
but out of the other three,
I probably directing.
yeah.
Producing, I do love putting all the pieces together and getting it going and being the executive on it, so the funding and doing all of that work and building a team and then making the decision. But I could go probably without that.
Yeah, I don't like the clerical work of
I don't
of
like,
producing.
there's a lot of like the paperwork, the budgets, the team, getting all the little details together. You're the person, to go to on set. It's great because then you're getting your project made, but I would probably pick acting and directing as my two
Yeah.
favorite. And then hire, I don't know, like someone. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. Do you find it difficult being the director and actor on at the same time?
Totally. I feel like there's been instances in my projects, even when I've hired teams to shoot demos, which I've done a few times, and I write it and then I produce it. I focus so much more on everyone else's energy and making sure everyone's there. I got all the pieces together. It's a full puzzle, but then you got to go on camera. And I feel like a lot of the times I'm getting way better with it now, letting go of taking off all the hats. But I feel like my performances probably suffered in past projects because of that.
I think it'll be an exercise too. Like I think you'll get better at it with time kind of thing. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. That wasn't my aim.
No. It is difficult when you're new to the game, and then it's like the day before set, and you're like, great, everything's ready. You have all craft services good, all the contracts are signed, you're ready to go. And you're like, do I know my line? Have I gone over anything to do with like being on like any story?
You're like, I wrote the character. I know the character.
I got this.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. So you are a big supporting role in a horror indie film coming out soon called Invited.
Yeah.
Tell me about that process of filming.
Wow, it was amazing. It was so cool. We shot everything on the day. Actually, how I got this role is pretty interesting. So for any young actors who are writing, I reached out to a director friend who directed Invited, Navin Rames-Warren, and I kind of had a script. It's a short, and I already shot it, but I had a short, and I wanted to see like his feeling on it. He would direct it, so I sent it to him. It's like, I don't really have time, to take on a short right now. He's like, but wow, I'm doing this feature, and there's a couple of roles that we're still missing. Would you be willing to put something on tape?
Oh, wicked.
And then he sent me the sides. I put 2 characters on tape. I booked the large supporting, and that just came out of me reaching out about, and I was really nervous, even though he's a great friend of mine. Whenever someone reads whenever you're sending out a script, you're like, oh my.
I know.
And so don't hold back on sending out your stuff because you don't know when it's going to fall into someone's lap at the right time. But when we shot Invited, we shot it, I think they did all of it and shot everything in 7 days. We shot for 4 or 5 days.
Oh wow, a whole feature and like
yeah, it was wild.
That's so cool.
And everything was done with like cool technology. We had earpieces in to hear because we were all in different rooms, and it all takes place with new media. So whether it's the laptop, FaceTime, Zoom, anything like that. Yeah, it was really interesting.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I can't wait to see it because I've heard I interviewed Martina previously.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I know. I love her too. And so she told me a bit about it, and I was like, "What?" I almost want to take the roof off of that house that you guys filmed in, just so you could just see where everybody is and what they're doing at the same time.
Yeah, we all had private sets, and we were in one house, but there's a lot of things that happened throughout the movie. So, in order to pick up the audio just from that person and not the other room, we were all mic'd, and then we had our private cameras, and then we had earpieces in to hear the other dialogue because everyone was on mute on the screens. And It was wild, and it was a challenge because we were working with so much new technology. So
That's
it
so
was,
cool.
It was that was so fun. And in the movie, I'm 8 months pregnant.
Oh, nice.
So a young mom.
You got a big belly?
Huge prosthetic belly I wore all week from the time I got to set until the time I was leaving. And this belly, like, when you felt it, you could feel inside like there was kind of like something moving, like it felt like a baby, and it was huge. And the special effects teams did such a great job. When you looked at the belly, it looked like there was veins. But
Yeah, I saw the
yeah.
pictures on your IMDb. I was wondering what that was
That
for.
was-
I was invited. Interesting.
That was one of my favorite roles so far. It was
wicked.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Oh my gosh, you'll have to share with us so we can put the link in the bio.
Definitely.
Where to go. I love it. Do you have like a dream role in mind of what you wanna do next? I mean, I know there's like dream roles for I want to do this and this and this and this, but is there a dream role that you have in mind right now that you are aiming for to do next?
I would love to now take on the lead in a feature, thriller, or horror or drama. I think that's where my heart kind of is right now.
Nice.
Something powerful, but yeah, I definitely think that I want to carry a feature right now. It's about time, I'd say.
Here she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Serious? No. But I'm just ready for that. I have a couple of shorts that I still want to do because the script is done and I just love the story so much, but it's in that same kind of genre, very powerful woman with twists. And then after that, either someone else's feature or my own feature I have written.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that. Have you ever, or let's phrase this a different way. What is the biggest mistake you've made on set, or have you had any embarrassing moments on set?
Oh, Lord. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just did a feature also this year called, let's not go into that. You don't need to know because it turned out good. When I got to the set, I had just got the lines like the night before. I got to the set and there was some wording in there that I don't usually follow. I don't usually say. It was very unnatural. And I got to the set and it was a huge set. And it took me a few times to get the line out. That's never happened to me before where I kind of like choked, And I felt kind of unprepared for multiple reasons. I got onto this project way late. An actress didn't show up. They needed someone. I got driven. The DP called me like, hey, we need an actress. Can you show up set? I knew nothing about the project or the movie. I got there. I was on set. I was like, this is wild, Amazing. This is wild. But then it took me a few times to get this little like 4 sentences, and my mind couldn't wrap around it. And I was nervous. That has never happened to me before where I just couldn't spit out the words. And then I just remember they just need one take. They're only going to use one take, girl.
That's
I get it. And I just like caught myself and I did it. But I was really bitter about that on myself. I was so hard on myself. I was leaving the set and everyone was like, oh, thanks for coming, thank you for being here last minute. Like, we didn't know what to do. Like, and I left there. I called my mom and I remember I was almost crying. I was so embarrassed.
Aww.
And then the DP called me and he's like, oh, thanks so much. You killed it. Like, thanks. And I'm like in my Uber crying. I'm like, oh, yeah, you think so?
Like, really? Because that's how it went down in my head.
So it was a good learning lesson of you don't know. That was just me, like, literally bombarding myself with so much negativity and unworthiness and thinking I couldn't just say these lines when really no one else is seeing that.
It's just in your head. Yeah, those moments are always fun.
That would be the most embarrassing. And once I was in a dryer, it was a short film it was called The Laundromat. It's a horror zombie movie, and I had to go I was younger, in my early 20s, okay? So I fit into the dryer. So I had to go into this dryer in the laundromat, and I was supposed to kick out, come out, and then smash my boyfriend with an iron and blood and all the stuff. and I was in the dryer and I kicked out, and the first time and I slipped and I fell.
Oh,
First
no.
take.
That's hilarious.
Right down.
And the horror turns to comedy.
And that was very embarrassing too.
That's
The only two
hilarious.
times.
Did you get a big bruise from that one?
Oh, from coming out of the dryer, because we shot that maybe, oh man, like 10 takes, and then the part where you hit him with the iron, that could only be one, so this blood
Right.
and stuff. We shot that so many times that the next day I was looking in the mirror and my legs were like black
Oh
on
my
both sides.
gosh.
But at the time I didn't know it was.
Yeah, you're
I'm
just doing the
kicking
thing.
over the
Yeah.
dryer, you know.
That's
But yeah, bruised,
amazing.
like just destroyed, mangled.
Well, early 20s.
If that was now, I would be like in bed for a week, like wrapped up, like what have I done?
Just heating and cool pads.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, when you're 22, you can do anything.
You can do anything. I love it. You have a book, How I Stumbled.
Yeah.
Tell me about your book.
This is a mini book, I would say, I wrote. It's called How I Stumbled in Love with Myself. How did this happen? That's a good question. I started doing the work that it takes. For a long time I thought something was wrong with me and I was really broken inside. Dealing with growing up, where I grew up, how I grew up, traumas, a couple of big traumas, but then just in general, figuring out who I was and failed relationships and who I was supposed to be to the world, and single and not exactly where I was supposed to be when I embarked on this journey. And I realized that I was kind of in this depression, like I was thinking, I was just feeling so unworthy, but I wasn't really letting anyone see it. I was just going through the motions and trying and trying. And so when the pandemic hit, I really took a step back and decided this was going to be a great opportunity to sit in stillness and be with myself. And I lived in a 500 square foot apartment with a cat, so it was like
You had no choice.
I had no choice. I had nobody. I had Mr. Toggles, that was it. And yeah, he's so cute. And yeah, I just decided to do the work, and I pulled sources from all different places, and I really dove in and ripped all the band-aids off and did the work on fostering an incredible relationship with myself. And I felt like if I could do that with the environment and the situation and all the no's and the world, pressing me down, and I could still see the light and be happy and in love with myself, then I owe it to kind of give back to anyone else that might be feeling the same way. And that's where the book came from. And it really was, I stumbled in love with myself. I didn't set out to foster that relationship with myself. I set out to feel whole. I set out to feel, to ignore high highs and low lows and try to balance my life and just feel like I'm okay where I am, who I am, and how I am. So that's where the book came from.
Nice. I love that. What do you think that was the first step to achieving all of that?
Acknowledging that it is okay to not be okay sometimes. I think I tried to control things that I have no business trying to control. Outcomes, situations, bookings. I really attached myself to being a successful actor. So every time a no came, or every time I wasn't climbing this ladder, so to speak, I took it very hard, because without acting, who am I? Am I just a waitress? Am I just a nobody? My family's going to think I'm a failure. Everyone laughs at me. Those kind of thoughts that come in, and I didn't have a strong enough higher self connected to counter that negativity. So I didn't set out to, fall in love with myself or foster this incredible joy that I find in little moments and stuff. I really set out to heal and to be okay,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. And you can get her book online at her website, Mandy
Magnan.com.
MandyMagnan.com. Woohoo! It'll be in the link below. I love it. Hold on, let me just make sure. You do Monologue Mondays.
Yes.
Tell me how Monologue Mondays started and what you do with Monologue Mondays.
Monologue Mondays. Wow, what an adventure. So, how it started, I full send was on a gummy one night with my besties.
That's how it always starts.
That's how
All
it always
good stories start with a gummy.
And I was telling, I always had this idea because I connect to music so much. Like, I love music, I love lyrics, and I always love how there's like a story behind them and how powerful. And that comes probably from music videos that have the artist acting in them and telling a story. And I was saying to my best friend Danny and her husband Julian one night, and I was like, man, I want to do this thing where I like take monologues or I take song lyrics and I make them into monologues, and I think that would be really cool. And they're like, so then do it. And I was like,
The answer isn't that simple, is it?
what? I was like, I don't know. People have done it before, I think, or I see people do real life. They say it as a person, I don't know, or it's super dramatic or funny. It's like, I don't really know if people like it. They're like, well, if you like it, do it. I was like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I'll put it on the list, put it on the list. And then Danny, my bestie, was like, I'm going to give you a song every week. I'm going to challenge you. If this is something you want to do, she's like, I have so many songs. They're both artists. So she's like, I have so many songs. I'm going to send you one every week.
Oh, amazing.
And then that's how it just kind of started.
That's amazing. I love that. Best friends are so important.
I know.
It's like, you said you wanted to do this, by the way. You're doing it.
You're doing it. You have no choice.
I love that. Do you have a favorite Monologue Monday that you've done?
Oh, man, I don't. I've done so many now. What's that song? Probably I love the first one that I did, although my sound was awful on it because I had all my wires and stuff connected wrong, so I didn't know how to fix it. But the first one I did was good. Unbreak My Heart by Toni Braxton.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved that one. There's a few I've done where I feel good. I have learned more about acting and my artistry doing these weekly challenges than ever because you literally just have the words. And you have to create, I have to create a whole story of background, and try to express them in a way that is truthful and grounded. So every week I'm just in a different place as the character. But there's a few. WAP I really like. Does He Love You by Reba McEntire is probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
Nice. I love that because you're right. You have to create like a whole story around it, who your character is, what they're doing, why are they saying what they're saying, and you have no point of reference. So it's like ultimate freedom. Ultimate freedom. I love that. You have your own production company, Strong Shell Productions. What made you want to start your own production company?
To make movies.
Boom, done.
I used to use a phrase for myself all the time called strong shell, broken soul, which kind of explains how I felt about myself, broken on the inside, but strong on the outside.
Right.
And that's why it's called Strong Shell Productions. I still go with that, having to be strong. I wanted to start my own production company for the same reasons as just making my own movies. I guess it's that.
Yeah, especially because you are like a multifaceted person and can wear many hats. It makes sense to have a production company be like, and this is what we're doing this week.
There's something empowering for me that's taken place to have my own projects going and have them under a certain umbrella where I could hire other actors and I could hire people to do what they want to do as well versus the exhaustion sometimes of waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's why I started my own.
Nice. Take a little bit of control back from the industry because Lord knows it doesn't exist.
It's tough out there.
It's hot out there. So I know you do the writing, the directing, and everything else. Is there any other creative projects or endeavors that you do outside of the entertainment industry that keep you going, or you mostly focus all of your energy in films?
Yeah, for my that's tough because my whole journey through my 20s, a lot of my best friends were always like, "You should get a hobby. You should get, what do you do for you?" And I was like, I like hobby.
This is it.
I watch movies. I act. I write. They're like outside, and I never thought it was important to have anything because I was like, I'm an actor. But now there are things. I just started a creative. It is creative endeavor, but I'm learning about trading. So I've started trading gold.
Nice.
That is amazing. It's the first thing I found looking at the charts and the candlesticks and learning about something I'm taking in that is outside of acting that I love, and I kind of just, it fascinates me to my core. And that's probably because for a long time I thought it wasn't for me. It was for like smart financial people, you know.
Yeah.
And I picked acting, which is not the smart financial choice in life. So I just didn't have it. I watched Wolf of Wall Street and I had no idea what it was about. So I just started doing that like 2.5 months ago, and I love it. I just opened a channel called Mandy Does Forex,
Nice.
which is just my video journal about my trades. So I do that, and that's it. I work out. I don't know. I try to find things to keep me busy in the times that my creative juices aren't flowing as much.
Alrighty. What is the hardest thing for you about being an actor?
No one taking me seriously.
Story of my life.
The hardest thing about being an actor, I mean, it's hard. The whole gig is hard. I think it's hard when you see projects come to town that you would be a great fit for but can't get a tape, or you do get a tape and you get let go, or you don't hear anything back, or the whole thing, I think, is tough, you know, taking the hits. But that's part of the journey. But
Yeah.
I think there's some hits that hurt a little bit more than others. I think having people around you or people in your life, or people that know you, think, oh, why aren't you on this show? Oh, you should go for that, or sending you castings, but they don't know that the casting's union, you're non-union, or it's union, and or like, you can't get in, it's not that easy. They're like, but it's in Toronto, and you know, thinking, I guess having to cosplay sometimes this successful working actor, and then sometimes it's like, man, I just sent in 5 tapes, I didn't hear anything. I'm just an artist trying to do what I love to do. So I think a lot of outside noise and distractions, again, of like where you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be, why aren't you on this show, why aren't you know, those kind of questions from people who aren't in the industry.
Yes.
That is
yes. Do you have the
probably
most annoying thing that people say or ask when they're not in the industry? Because I do.
What always comes up, you know, like, you're an actor, when you say that, it's like, right away, what have you been in that I've seen? It's like, well, what have you seen?
Right?
Or can you cry? It's like, yeah, but acting is getting to a place where you don't want to cry. If everyone wanted to cry, we'd be walking around crying in front of everyone.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, that was, like, what have you been in? It's always hard to do that because you're like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm not on, no whatever.
Right. I'm like, do you watch this random channel no one's heard about?
And
On
have you
this
been
show
to this
no
film
one
festival?
watches. Yeah.
Like, do you go to film festivals? Like, I'm not really sure. But, yeah, there's
Right?
always that.
Like, if you have to ask, nothing. Nothing, my friend. God bless. Have a good day.
Peace.
Yeah, I had my mom, bless her heart, love you very much. She was just like, at one point, she's like, well, why don't you just get a better agent? Oh, is that what I do? Is that, oh my God, that never occurred to me. And I was like, and you know what? It looks hella easy. It must look hella easy from the outside with like the advice that people give. And like, yeah, like the links they send and whatever.
Yeah.
Just be on it. Just go be on. Just walk on set. They used to just walk on set and ask for a job. And you're like, yeah, in 1960s when you could do that. And now, especially with COVID, you can't just walk on a set.
They're like, why don't you just go down or what? Yeah, they always think it's, I think, a little bit easier than it is to get the tape. But getting the tape, or before it used to be going into the room, that was amazing. Like, that's incredible. You get that, that's already a win. But then they'll be like, oh, this show came out. Did you know it's filming in Toronto? Do you know this woman is on it? You should reach out to this woman and see. It's like, whoa, I don't know if it works like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it does for some people, but
Right.
it's
Did
not
you know
that
Sarah Polly's on town filming a movie? You should just contact the director and let them know you're here. Yes. Yes, I'll absolutely be doing that. We'll be violating any kind of like rules. What do you think is in your, let's try that again. What do you think is currently in your way of getting to the next level?
myself.
That's usually some form of the answer. Like, me. In what way?
What is in my way? I guess, honestly, I don't see anything in my way to get to the next level.
Nice.
I think it's just a matter of trusting. I'm working really hard right now in trusting the universe and being okay with where I'm at, knowing that I'm putting in the work and letting the cards fold where they shall fold. Is that what I'm saying? Where they may? Letting the cards fold where I don't know. I guess, yeah, my original answer would be the right one, I guess, myself. I think the work just continues on expanding and getting out there, and yeah, belief, it's a huge part of faith, belief, and hard work all together. So they all have to kind of be doing their thing.
Yeah, exactly. When one gets low, the other one's gotta pick up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a balance of a lot of things. Yeah. What are you manifesting next for yourself? Your own, you wanted to do feature, right? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Tell me about this feature. Do you have a story in mind that you wanted to do, or where are you at with the feature project?
I have, God, the features just changed so much. I have a short definitely called Desire that we're doing next. I just finished wrapping Manhunter, which was my last short. Desire is next. And then after that, currently, I have 3 feature scripts that I'm writing.
Nice.
They're all so different. Very different, but I think my first feature I want to manifest, or I call it manifesting,
Yes.
is called No Barking, and it's about an empowered woman who teaches other women self-defense and is very vocal and an activist and a super feminist, gets kidnapped and put in a cage and trained like a dog to be submissive, and it's called No Barking. That's the one that I would like to do as my first breakout feature.
Well, producers with money, here she is. She's here and she's ready. 3 scripts. Did you hear that? 3.
Well, but some I don't touch for months. I really just feel it out.
Yeah.
I don't force myself anymore.
So do you just start writing when like the inspiration comes? It's not like every day I have to write like 20 pages.
I wish I was more strict with myself and sat in my computer an hour a day and whatever came. But I really, when I write, I could think of the scenes exactly how they're going to go. I say the dialogue, I think about them in my head, and then when I'm like, oh, that's good, then I'll go and I'll like write something.
Nice.
And I don't pressure myself to. I probably should be more strict. I'm going to tell you. If there's one thing, it's probably me. And then that next level to be a little bit more.
Sometimes
on
it's
a
nice
schedule.
to go with the flow,
But yeah, I just
inspiration
go with the flow when it hits. And if something new happens, I just go with that too.
Amazing. I love that. I love it. Going with the flow. All right, we like to finish our podcast with a fast 5 questions. They're not hard, so no pressure. What is your favorite beverage?
Cold can of Pepsi.
Ooh. What is your pet peeve?
Rude people.
Name 3 must-haves on set.
Water, a good director, and a hair and makeup artist.
Yes. What is your favorite guilty pleasure show or movie?
Dirty Dancing.
Nice.
Yeah.
A quote you live by or try to live by?
Lisa Nicole said once in an interview that she got to a place where she didn't have money for diapers. And she said to her baby, I'm never going to be this broke or broken again. And I say that to myself a lot.
Nice.
It's a reminder, like, I'm not where I was, but I'll never be that broke or broken ever again.
Nice. Only forward.
Only forward.
Love it. And I think I'm cheating. This is the 6th question, but a piece of advice for your younger self when you started your acting career.
Don't let anyone fit you in a box that you're too big for.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love
Be
it.
your full self, expand, and don't let go of shame and guilt. No one in adulthood comes out unscathed. So own who you are and don't be guilty about it.
So true. So true. Well, thank you so much for being my guest on my podcast.
Thank you.
Loved having you. Loved chatting with you. If you liked this episode, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.